Another important thing, as always, is fire. And so it's good to have several different ways of starting a fire. And obviously, waterproof matches are really important. If you do get a box of, if you do carry matches, it's important to put some filler in the box with them, because if you can hear them rattle and you do a lot of hiking, when the weeks turn into months and the months turn into years, you may end up finding, like I have, that your matches are nothing but toothpicks and a little bit of dust in there. The match heads wear right off because they're rattling. So I like to put a little fire starter in there in the box, and so that you can't hear them move, and then there's a good chance that they're going to be serviceable when you need them. It's always good to carry a lighter, and I like a lighter that's full size and one you can see through, so you can make sure that it's got some fluid in it in case it discharges or you use it from time to time. Another really important thing is to have an adjustable flame mechanism on it. That'll allow it to work at different temperatures. And real cold temperatures, even at the high setting, it may not work, and then all you need to do is warm it up. In the winter, you need to warm it up. Another way of carrying matches is to carry them in either a plastic, now they're all plastic, but as a little container. It'll have a lanyard loop on it so you can thread it through a piece of cordage so you don't lose it. So it's really good to have multiple ways of starting a fire, and those are the conventional ways there. And then we have, it's good to carry some fire starters with you. And I carry everything in Ziploc bags so that it keeps them organized and keeps them from getting wet and whatnot. And so it's good to have some fire starters with you. And this one here is a fire starter that you have to have a flame. In other words, you'd have to have your lighter and light it. But if you get to a situation where your matches don't work, or you've run out of matches and you don't have an open flame, in other words, you don't have a lighter or your lighter doesn't work, it's really good to have another method of couple methods of making a fire. And one of the most popular ways is, and is standard in military first aid kits, is a magnesium fire starter like this. And so you've got a block of magnesium, and I like to, you can use you need a sharp implement, but I, rather than use my pocket knife, which we're going to get into, to carve this down and dull the knife, I like to carry a little piece of hacksaw blade. And so how these work is you've got a block of magnesium, and then you've got a ferro rod here, a ferrocerium rod. It's a sparker. So what you do is you're going to carve off a bunch of magnesium, just like this. You'd have to do it out of the wind, and you'd get a pile of it about the size of a quarter would be really good. And then you flip the magnesium block over, and you're going to, on your striker, you're going to create sparks, and that's going to ignite the magnesium and burns extremely hot. Now it burns out fast, so it's important that you have a lot of tinder available, and other toothpick size, tinder and finger size and thumb size and whatnot that's dry and ready to go. So that's a really reliable way of starting hundreds of fires. And I also carry, I don't have one here with me, another type of fire starter is a fire starter that you can ignite with just a spark. In other words, you don't have to use a flame. So I carry a lot of those too, because you could just drop one of these sparks right into it and it will take off, much like magnesium does. And the last thing I carry for starting a fire is a bigger ferro rod that puts out bigger sparks. I have actually one that's bigger than this, but this is one you could use with, you could gather up some leaves and pine needles and shave up some birch bark, really dry tinder like a bird's nest, and then you could drop a spark into that off of this. And with some practice, you can get a fire going that way.